tricking kids in the dark when it comes to our legal system? Some prominent Las Vegans think so, and they're doing something about it. Can giving kids a crash course in civics help keep them out of trouble? We'll ask our guests next on Face to Face. Welcome to Face to Face. I'm Jon Ralston. Are today's kids getting a skewed vision of democracy? Experts say the average American's knowledge of the legal system stems from what he sees on TV. And they say reversing that trend could help children better understand the consequences of breaking laws and thus reduce crime. A new foundation will guide students through a hands-on civic lesson. Here to tell us about it, U.S. District Court Judge Philip Pro and the Director of Relevant Education about the Law, Dr. Walton. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us, John.
Let's talk, Dr. Walton, what you're trying to do with this program and how you're going to get kids engaged into society more, into democracy, into the judicial system. What are you doing?
Well, we have 4 programs that we are planning. We have one program which uses drama to bring a legal court proceeding into the classroom. We have a second program for elementary school kids that basically uses materials such as these, Fair Bears Learn About Justice. So we talk to kids at a very early age about justice and other aspects of the democratic process. We have 2 websites. They're in their very early stages, but they're coming to fruition right now. And the websites will have a number of quite positive features for students of all ages.
We have the website up right now for people watching.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay. This is the website for our younger visitors.
Lawforkids.org, I should say, is the URL, so people want to go check it out.
Lawforkids.org. And actually, we licensed this from Arizona. We are the Nevada arm of this. And it's got some really interesting features. It has the capacity for kids to pose questions, and these are answered in a rather generic way by volunteer attorneys. So kids can actually get a relationship with the judicial system in a very positive and useful way. Children might be going through a divorce or something like that, and adults might assume that they have certain concerns, but they might not actually be the concerns the kid has. The kid might be worried about whether he loses his dog, or if, it's now baseball season. Do I actually have to go and visit Dad every 2 weeks? So sometimes we perceive that children don't want to go to the parents or to other stakeholders to ask these kinds of questions.
When we come back, gentlemen, let's take a look at some of the kinds of questions that are being asked, and let's talk about how young can you really get to these kids and get them to remember what you've told them. Back in a moment.
You're watching Face to Face with Jon Ralston.
Welcome back. Some prominent Las Vegans have started a program to get kids more involved in society, more involved in democracy and the judicial process. A couple of them are joining us today. Dr. Walton is running the program, and Judge Phil Pro is behind it too. All right, let's talk a little bit. One thing you brought up that's kind of interesting to me, you brought up the elementary schools, Fair Bears Learn About Justice. Do you really think that kids that young are going to retain anything you tell them about something like this? I mean, they might know SpongeBob's best friend's name, but are they going to remember something they're taught in a book like that? What do you think?
Well, I believe that the life decisions we make at any age stem from what we learn when we're very young. And I think issues of justice, of privacy, all the kinds of things that lead us to have expectations and lead us to have our own responsibilities throughout our whole lives can start when you're age 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, let me show you what something else you said to that State Senate subcommittee about educating children in the state and federal legal system, because I think this really gets to the point here, Dr. Walton. This society incarcerates more people than any country, and we're one of the few countries to impose capital punishment. Those laws do little to reduce crime. One of the reasons for that strange phenomenon is people do not understand the legal system and the democratic process. As a result, they choose to believe legal information received via television. If we're able to reverse this and use our techniques to engage our children in the judicial and democratic process, there'll be a real understanding of what happens when laws are not obeyed. One thing that strikes me about this is, in going to people who are very young, is that so many people out there now are alienated from the judicial system. They have all kinds of theories, often conspiracy theories, about why things happen in the judicial system. If you can explain the nuts and bolts at an early age, I would think maybe you can stem that tide. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's exactly right. I think if you were to learn about the American judicial system from TV, you would really end up with a very distorted picture. And the other thing I think is that the judicial system is a positive tool to us at some time in our lives, and yet I think many kids really have an extensive fear of the judicial system. So it's breaking down that barrier between people and the legal system, which is part of our duty.
Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm Jon Ralston. We're talking about a great new program that's going to try to help kids get educated about the legal system. We have two of the driving forces behind it right here today, U.S. District Judge Phil Pro and Dr. Walton, the executive director of the program. All right, let's talk a little bit about what some kids are asking. My producer went on the website and pulled down some of these questions, and I don't even know if you gentlemen have seen these. But for instance, what should I do if my teacher verbally abuses me in private and in public? And then they put the answer up, and it's all school children are entitled to respect and civility from their teachers. If you feel you're being verbally abused, you should immediately report this to the school's administration, that is the principal. The school's then notified of the situation. You can conduct an investigation, respond appropriately based on the facts. These answers are generally going to be right on point and simple, aren't they, Dr. Walton?
Yes, they are, and I think that question and answer illustrates a very important issue, and that is that there is an asymmetry between how people view the judicial system. Kids look at it with a sense of fear, and that answer demonstrates that the judicial system, that the system of fairness and justice, actually has two edges to its sword. I mean, it can be used if a child needs support from the system around them, as well as against the child if the child is actually doing something wrong. So,
you know, it's interesting, Dr. Walton, you mentioned one of the aspects that's going to be up there, and it's family law. There are a disturbing number of questions up there about kids going through divorces, abuse, etc. Those are kids who really have to feel like they have no outlet, that they're lost, that they have no hope. Hopefully they could go on the internet and maybe get some hope from this website. What do you think?
Absolutely. We think it's important that students of all ages have access to accurate information, and without having to go through any issues, they can stay anonymous. They can use the information however they wish, and they don't have to go through other people who may be providing them with misinformation, or who may want to take some role that's much more in depth than the child actually wants at that point.
Well, you know, it's a very simple situation. You have a child custody battle, and the kid is told by the father, you can't go live with your mother. Here's a perfect place for the kid to go on and say, wait a second, my dad's telling me this, I want to live with my mom. What are my rights in this situation?
Exactly.